Vikings front office is going out of their way to say that they want running back Adrian Peterson to return. Head coach Mike Zimmer was asked about Peterson during the combine.
I've never wavered once about how Adrian has been with me the entire time that I've been there, short-lived or not. He's done everything I've asked him to do. I know that he's a good person. I know that he knows he made a mistake. I love the kid. He's going to come back with a vengeance.
Will he come back to the Vikings?
I sure hope so. We're planning on it. So part of it is Adrian's got to take care of the things he has to take care of so they can be reinstated. And I have not been able to talk to him since he's been suspended. But I do think that he wants to come back and prove to all the Minnesotans, all the people in the Twin Cities, all the Vikings fans, what kind of guy he is.
But Peterson told our Vikings beat reporter the following: "It's hard to say what my future will be. I love Minnesota. There are people that have had my back and supported me. Last year with the things that took place, had a lot of fans that supported me through everything. For the fans, I would definitely love to come back. But then again, it's a business. When it comes down to business, you can't get caught up in loyalty to the fans or to a team or anything like that. You know how it is in the NFL. I learned a lot through this process. I'm still uneasy. To be honest with you, I'm still uneasy about a lot of things that took place within the organization. Of course, those guys ultimately supported me, and I'm grateful for that. But ultimately, with me being able to be on the inside and see how cards were dealt, how things were worded, this, that, and the other, it's about protecting your brand, your organization, what you have built. In the grand scheme of things, not one person counts over that. I get that. All right, he has a right to his feelings, obviously, gentlemen, but what do you make of his comments as the team, as we've heard Mike Zimmer say, they clearly support him? Skip.
Stephen A., I make out of these very potent quotes from Adrian Peterson that he remains deeply wounded by the way he perceived the organization turning on him. And this is just my 2 cents and my gut feeling from a distance. I think Adrian Peterson wants out of Minnesota. Now, just for the record, not his call. He's under contract for this coming year and 2 more years at a whole lot of money, by the way. $12.75 million next year, and then it goes to $15 million, $16 million. And Adrian, in about a month, will turn 30 years of age, although clearly he didn't play last year after the opening game. So now back to the issue at hand. And Stephen, I want to stress, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to defend anything Adrian Peterson did to that child. I'm actually on the organization's side, the way they had to reverse field. But he called it, Adrian Peterson called it, an ambush when the organization decided to reverse its original decision and asked the commissioner to put Adrian on the exempt list. And because of that, he felt like a lot of people on the organization sold him out and turned on him. And the most potent quote of all to me was, "I know many people in the organization want me back, and I know those who don't." So he's holding a little bit of a grudge there. That's his business. That's his perception of what happened. But as we all know, we've discussed this before, the Dallas Cowboy opportunity is out there. And our Don Van Natta reported in that ESPN The Magazine article that Adrian Peterson called Jerry Jones in the press box through a liaison just to let Jerry know that, hey, I would love to play in Dallas, even though that was bending the rules a little bit for Jerry to even take that phone call, obviously, because he is under contract. But my take is that Adrian wouldn't mind going home to the state of Texas to play for the Cowboys, and it's just possible he's now trying to talk his way out of Minnesota. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if he's trying to talk his way out of Minnesota. I know some people in his camp that have reached out to me and have contacted me over the last several weeks on a multitude of occasions, Skip, and they say that he feels exactly the way that you expressed. He's got some real wounds to heal. He feels completely betrayed by some within the Vikings organization. A matter of fact, I had one person tell me that I believe it was Kevin Warren, the COO. That's one of the individuals that Adrian Peterson feels was smiling in his face and was going behind his back talking smack about him at every turn. And so when you see something like that transpire, it's going to resonate with somebody like an Adrian Peterson, and he has every right to feel that way, assuming those things are true. My only retort to Adrian Peterson is this: you feel betrayed because you trusted folks. What the hell were you doing trusting folks? You're a football player. This is business. And the fact is that they loved you because you're the best running back in football. Most time, more often than not, you're not having Thanksgiving dinner or exchanging Christmas gifts with these people. I think it's important that a lot of these guys really, really need to adopt that mentality and learn to understand that when you find an employer, a boss, that you have a personal relationship with, that you can trust with your life, that is not only a supervisor or an authoritative figure, but a friend who genuinely has love for you. That is an aberration. That is not the norm. That is not something that you can expect from most places. What you're dealing with, what Adrian Peterson believes he's dealing with at this moment in time, what he claims his wife believes he's dealing with, because he said that if it were up to his wife, he'd probably be gone. He wouldn't be coming back to Minnesota. It wouldn't even be something he's contemplating, because if it were up to her, they would be leaving. The fact of the matter is you're treating it as if somehow, some way, some kind of aberration took place, and oh my God, you've been betrayed because people had the temerity, the unmitigated gall to smile in your face and to talk behind your back, when in fact, that's actually the norm. Most people in the world of business do smile in your face and talk behind your back. It's those who are genuine, who have a genuine level of love and affection for you as a human being, as a person, not just an athlete. That's the aberration. What he's describing in Minnesota is the norm. And to think for 1 second that there's a larger possibility that you'll experience something different elsewhere than you're experiencing right now in Minnesota is fool's gold. 99.5% of the time, any other organization that you're playing for, if you're going through this, they're going to turn against you a little bit. They're going to be a little bit two-faced, and a respective city assigned to cover you is going to dig into your past and try to find things that can explain why you found yourself in this predicament, just like the folks or the media members in Minneapolis tried to do. You can't sit there and be a baby about it and point the finger at those folks when, in fact, it's incredibly predictable that everything that has happened would happen. So I'm not saying that Adrian Peterson is wrong in what he's saying and that he's wrong in what he may be feeling about those individuals. Just don't act or think for 1 second that it's an aberration. This is actually the norm. The issue that he expected, that's actually utopia. That's an aberration. That is not the norm. And men understand that. Boys have a problem doing it. Last time I checked, Adrian Peterson is a man. He should understand this.
Yep, I agree. He also should understand some perspective on the situation he found himself in, because obviously, in light of the Ray Rice video, and then in light of some local sponsors saying, hey, we've got to pull out here on the Minnesota Vikings because of this Adrian Peterson situation, it's just a bad look for the Vikings. Because of all that, and Adrian did acknowledge, it's just bad for the Vikings brand. They have to do something. And again, I said early on in this conversation, I could not blame them for reversing field in light of all that and saying, hey, Mr. Commissioner, could you please put Adrian on your exempt list? Because we're not sure how to handle this. We don't want to handle it. And they didn't. And I cannot condemn them for their actions there, even though some may have been smiling in Adrian's face saying, we got your back. When in fact, in the end, they just got the back of their franchise, and you can't condemn them for that.
I can't condemn them for that. It's a hard thing, you know, in the world of business, you have sponsors and advertisers, people who patronize your product, your brand. And when you put yourself in a position, whether intentionally or not, to compromise that brand, then you have to anticipate that they're going to make business decisions in the best interest of their brand as opposed to the individual. You can't sit there and hold that against corporate America. That's what transpires every day. It transpires at this company. It transpires at every country, every company across the nation, and arguably across the globe. These guys have to stop thinking that different rules are going to apply to them. Just because you were the best and you did so much, even though, I hate when Adrian Peterson and others say this. He implies, I did so much for them. Well, what were you supposed to do? Run out on the field and try to average 1 yard a carry? Stop it. You were doing it for yourself, too. You wanted to be the best. They just happened to benefit. You would not have done the greatness of Adrian Peterson. You would not have done anything different for the Vikings organization than you would do for the Cowboys, the Jets, the Redskins, the 49ers, or any team that you are playing for. Because when you step out on the field, it's about you and your greatness being put on display. That's who Adrian Peterson is. He was the same guy that started Oklahoma. He's the same guy that started in the NFL for Minnesota. And if he went someplace else, he tried to star for them too. So what are you talking about what you did for Minnesota? You did for Minnesota what you would be doing for any NFL team that you played for. You were just doing your job, and you happened to be the absolute best at it. But you weren't doing anybody any favors by doing it. You were doing your job.
All right, so bottom line, the Vikings all say, starting with Mike Zimmer, they want Adrian Peterson back. What's your gut feeling from what you know right here, right now? Will he be a Viking next year?
My gut feeling is that he'll probably be a Minnesota Viking because they need him in order to be productive and effective. They know if he comes out on that field and he plays lights out, everything will be in the past. And more importantly, you don't want him to go someplace else and do damage for somebody else, potentially at your expense. This is the business of the NFL. Adrian Peterson will have to get over what his feelings are. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying that what he's complaining about, it's not like you're going to get away with not complaining about that with somebody else. Find yourself in this predicament again for a different organization and see how they act along with the respective city covering you. It'll be the same thing.
To wrap up,
I'm with you. I don't think Adrian will love this next year, but I think he's going to be forced to be a Viking.
To wrap up the conversation, he said to our beat reporter once again what specifically made him upset was the Vikings working with the NFL to put him on the commissioner's exempt list. He says he felt as if that was an ambush. We leave it there. When we come back, we'll have Brian Windhorst. He will join us to give us the latest on Chris Bosh. Could he miss the remainder of the season? We'll be right back in just a few moments.